Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back. And if you are just tuning in with me for the very first time, it's so nice to meet you. And I'm really glad you're here with me today. I am your host, Heather Carey, nutritionist, chef, mom, and a woman who has been around the block with food. I want to open up about real food in relation to health, weight, and our bodies so you can make peace with what you eat. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today, I had the opportunity to speak with Inesa Ponomariovaite, who is the owner and founder of Nessa's Hemp, a CBD company that sells very pure CBD. It's actually CBD-A, I've learned a lot on this conversation I had with her today because I know how much confusion there is about supplements, and you start taking them and you're wondering why I'm even taking them in the first place and is this doing anything? So we had a really, really in-depth talk about CBD because I know a lot of people have tried it, at least I know that I have, and had questions. So tune in and take a listen to my conversation with Inessa and get yourself educated on what you're taking. Hey, everybody. I am with Inesa Ponomariovaite. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, it did.
Okay, thank you. It's a long last name. She is the founder and CEO of Nessa's Hemp, the world's first ever full spectrum CBD-A oil. CBD-A is created through a unique process that preserves all the healing compounds of the hemp plant. This promotes optimal healing and restores the body to its natural state. Inessa's journey with CBD began 5 years ago when her mother was diagnosed with cancer and given 6 months to live. Heartbroken but determined, Inessa's mission was to find natural ways to overcome her mother's health condition. That is when she discovered that the hemp plant is known to be a miracle plant. She had met with the leading CBD producers in the United States and realized that none of them had a high-quality hemp product. So Inessa decided to start her own company. And after facing many challenges, she was finally able to create a product for her mother and subsequently other people in the world that is an effective alternative health solution. So thank you for taking your time today, Inessa. I know you are incredibly busy, but I have a ton of questions about CBD, hemp, CBD-A, all of those, there's all those small words thrown around, and the wellness industry. And I know that my listeners do too, because let's face it, there's always seems to be a product or supplement of the moment, offering that miracle and an answer to so many of our problems. I know a lot of my listeners might be healing from an illness. They're trying to lose weight, increase their energy, get better moods, better sleep is huge, less brain fog. And we're all looking for the answer, right? And all you have to do these days is just troll around TikTok or Instagram, and you'll discover thousands of so-called solutions. So I don't take supplements lightly, and I only take them when they are really well researched and backed by science. And I recommend this to my clients too, and my listeners. So there's just too much quackery out there that I've been intrigued with CBD. I'm really intrigued with it. And I've been intrigued for a while because although it seems to promise a million things, I think that you and I kind of talked off air a little bit, there is some science behind it and some evidence that it does work. So let's get into your story and how you became just invested, I think, emotionally, financially, this is your business now, in the CBD world and the hemp industry, to the point where you even started your own business, which I know has been a labor of love for you.
Yeah, I think understanding why I started is very important. So thank you so much for starting the right question, because I never wanted to be a CBD business owner. And especially at that time, I did not know that the whole world is going to be against me, except the people. So I would never start this company years ago, but now that I'm so invested in my whole passion and love and everything for the world. So yeah, so I would like to really clarify so many things, and what I'm about to clarify is actually evidence produced by every country science, conspiracy science, or like mainstream science, whatever you want to come up with. No one can deny these facts that I'm about to share. And again, thank you so much for allowing me to share these facts, because I'm not allowed to speak about these facts on a mainstream media. So they don't want people to know what's in their bodies and what they're capable of. So yeah, that would be great. So first of all, to make all the confusion to go away, I would like to explain one and most important aspect. What we're going to be talking about is your own endocannabinoid system. Your own endocannabinoid system is not something you chose to have, just like your liver, kidney, your receptors in the body. It's just part of you. You're born with it. So that your own endocannabinoid system was discovered about 40 years ago. A research and scientist from Israel, Dr. Rafael Mechoulam, he's the one who discovered human endocannabinoid system. And the world was very excited to look into his discovery, and across the planet, every university, every researcher was so excited. What is this new organ? What is this new receptor that we have inside of us that we never been taught about it? We never even learned in medical schools. Doctors don't even know about it. And that's exactly what it is. It's your endocannabinoid system. And what that system does, as science is proving these specific facts right now, that system is producing own cannabinoids. It's basically, it's almost exact same cannabinoid as in the plant. And we'll talk about the plant in a second, because there's big differences in the plant that your body produces. So it's almost the same cannabinoid. And what these cannabinoids are responsible for is to control all other systems in your body, including your central nervous system. So when you're born and when you're like a baby and you're a child, you're producing your own cannabinoids, and your body is full and your body is operating great. Your spleen, your brain, your moods, your everything. But what happens is, when you get older, or in my terminology, when you get exposed to too much stress, toxins, parasites, mold, you start losing your own endocannabinoid system production. And from the moment that production reduces the number, and it's kept reducing it, it's called aging in the regular world, you start losing the system. Automatically, it affects hundreds and hundreds of functionalities in your body, because that one system was responsible to control your entire central nervous system, your brain, your vision, your hair growth, your spleen, your gut, your everything. So if that system, the main guy in the body, is affected, that means the rest of the guys in the body will be affected. So with that being said, that itself is a fact. It's not something I discovered. I just learned when I was going through saving my mother process, and tried to figure out how I can balance this woman, what the specific mechanisms I can trigger, where it triggers the rest of mechanisms in the body. This is, all of us have it. And if we empower that system, we can be healthy again, right? Maybe majority of the country people will be getting off the pills if they just empower that endocannabinoid system. So, but what plants has to offer on the market today has nothing to do with original plant that we actually had for thousands of years, including Jesus was using, is biblical, to heal his people. And I promise you, Jesus wasn't extracting some kind of type of CBD or engineering high levels of THC in a laboratory and making some genetics going on. None of that stuff was happening. So the real plant that was happening in our lives and supporting our systems as a superfood, the hemp plant, has nothing to do with a current plant on the market. Those are two different things.
So I just want to get clear on this, just so we're like on the same page. So we have this endocannabinoid system in our bodies, right? That was just discovered not that long ago, only about 40 years ago. And it helps the central nervous system, right? It empowers the central nervous system. So with time, though, as we get older and we age and we have stress and we start to deplete the system.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Okay. And then using CBD oil helps to replenish.
Absolutely.
But there's different types and different grades, and some are produced like in not so great ways, right? I mean, so that's okay. So that's what you discovered, is that through, right? So then your mom gets sick with cancer, and you go on a mission to like discover this, and then you find out that there's a whole mess of different qualities of CBD. And
no, there's so much, as you say, like there's so much. That's exactly what happened. I simply knew that supplement industry is not regulated, and I also knew that cannabis industry barely scratched the surface to be regulated. So I knew my job is to figure out the highest quality cannabinoids to empower my system, my mom's system, and the people I was helping systems. Because as I said, there's a huge definition and there's big differences, right? One CBD product can harm you, one can heal you. So which one is which one? But that being said, I simply wasn't trusting anybody, and I picked like highest quality marketed companies in the country. And I actually made a phone call. So I said, can I one day visit you guys to check your quality, to know things for myself? And I literally backpacked myself. I jumped on the plane, started out of California, went to Oregon. I went all over United States, anywhere we're growing actually these plants. And I said, I want to know what's in it. Don't show me lab results from 3 years ago. Show me the lab results, what exactly you're currently producing right now, not something you've done really nice job years ago and you kind of counting on it. Long story short is, I tested the soils. I tested with my own laboratories these finished products. I tested water system. I tested everything, and I even tested. I'm not going to say names because I don't want to sound negative, but I just can tell you this: I met the #1 Whole Foods producers in the produce world. Okay, and I was able to clarify they're actually having in parts per billion of metals. So with that being said, how this is okay? And I was raising this question, why we have these metals in it? And they said, oh, we're still organic certified. I said, but the organic label doesn't mean the end of the world. I mean, if the organic still allows you in parts per billion to mold metals or any other toxins, I'm not okay with organic certification. We need to change a new and create a new level of certification. So long story short is I was just in a vicious cycle. And then especially in Colorado, they said, oh, we can't escape heavy metals because the whole soil in Colorado is loaded with heavy metals. So, and the trick is, if you want to go hemp plant as a medicine, you have to be extremely careful. And this is why. Hemp plant is actually a soil cleaner. It does clean the soil. That means it grabs every possible toxin from the air from far away and sucks in that one root of those roots and actually holds in it. So it's like a sponge for the toxins. So if you grab every single toxin from the air and also soil, then you really have to be careful the way you grow these plants for medicinal purposes, because it's going to be in the plant. So it's a very complicated process, right? So when I saw that, it really bothered me, because I knew to empower endocannabinoid system is essential. People were empower the system today, probably half the country would be off the pills almost immediately, because all what they need is just missing few cannabinoids here and they can function again. So what happened is, and seeing that not single one company was actually doing what they're saying they're doing, that really got me upset. So I saw the major disconnect. Took me 2 weeks of travel. It spent tens of thousands of dollars on laboratory testing because each lab I tested, I found positive for mold, mildew, bacteria, mycotoxins, you name it, all those dangerous things. And I said, wow, more tests, more toxins I found. This is getting really interesting. So, and that's the moment that I realized I'm in this whole thing by myself. But before I really wanted kind of a call myself for this big mission, I said, let me confirm with the world leaders if I'm missing something here, or if I'm imagining, or I'm being conspiracy theorists, so what's going on? So I just decided to contact the Nobel Prize winner, actually from Israel, who's the one discovered this human endocannabinoid system. It took me 3 months to get the professor on the call. And I told him, I said, Dr. Raphael, I said, I see the big issue. Everybody sells CBD. CBD is a drug, plus it's loaded with these toxins. And I said, only God knows how much empowers the endocannabinoid system. And I said, while the CBD, it's not even talked about it. I said, nobody's even know, like they don't even know what I'm talking about. So, and he agreed that there's a problem. And he, at that time, he couldn't help me to find one single company who actually does the CBD-A or promotes the CBD-A. And he said, if you ever come across one, please let me know. I'd be interested to talk to these people. And I realized that I'm on the mission by myself, and also supported that if I'll discover or found a company or develop myself, that I'll be doing the right thing. And that was enough for me to really kind of figure out how can make this happen.
So that's a really good point. I mean, it sounds like you were on a mission, and I mean, and amazingly, you got access to a lot of big people, and these companies were, and found out a lot and did a ton of research. So you just mentioned, though, CBD-A, and I know I said that at the beginning in your bio. Can you explain, because I think this is a huge, probably source of confusion, hemp oil, CBD oil, you mentioned CBD-A. I know that's what you sell. Tell me the difference between each of these, because I don't know myself, and I know that people would be really interested in knowing that.
That's the reason why I love to educate people on this. Even sometimes if I have to even pay for it, I'm still going to educate, because the misinformation is so big, where, again, you're going to realize that in a minute. So I will explain exactly the whole plant's structure, and in less than a minute, you're going to realize what's going on. The whole cannabis industry, I mean, hemp or cannabis, goes under one category, under one name only. It's called cannabis industry. Even if you have CBD, THC, no THC, it doesn't matter what you sell. If it's somehow hemp related, it's going to be cannabis industry. Then this cannabis industry actually is divided in two different legs. One is hemp plants are actually contain supposed to, let me correct myself. They're supposed to contain very low levels of THC. It's called
which is the psychoactive property of cannabis. I just want to put that out there in case people don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And THC is the psychoactive compound that actually is going to make you high, can make you dizzy, cause even nausea. Like, a lot of people don't like it. I personally don't support it, never used it myself, completely against that. And there's the reasons why. So in the hemp plant, we have supposed to have very low bare minimum levels of THC, which is not supposed to affect your brain, and higher levels of CBD. Right. And in the cannabis industry, because you remember it's divided in two legs. So one is hemp, one is cannabis. So the cannabis, all what they focus is medical marijuana, like high levels THC only. Basically, all what you do, you get high all day long. And now they have Delta 9s. I mean, they have all kinds of Frankensteins. They re-engineered for THC. They created multiple versions of a lot of edibles and things that's going to make you high. So long story short is, it's extremely unhealthy world. Okay. What I'm focusing is, and what we had as human in the human history for thousands of years, they always had a hemp plant. But the hemp plant in nature or naturally does not have any kind of type of THC. If you're gonna take the hemp plant, especially when we had like years ago, 100 years ago, before we start genetically re-engineer these plants, we had barely any minimum levels of THC in an original hemp plant. But then if you're gonna take that hemp plant from the soil, and if you're gonna look at the hemp plant structure and study what's in that hemp plant, there is no THC and there is no CBD. So then what it is? It's a THCA, it's acidic cannabinoid THCA, and it's CBD-A. That's original God's version. That's the one we had thousands of years ago, but not re-engineering. But what happened now, because it's such a huge industry, and it's creating a wave, and they want to make this part of medical stream, what pharmaceuticals decided to do, they decided to take original plant like CBDA, THCA, and turn into the second version. It's called CBD and THC. Those two versions, CBD and THC, is actually patentable. From the moment you can make a patent, which is they did, now CBD is patented as a drug for epilepsy, and it completely belongs to pharmaceutical industry. And that means that property belongs to them. And most people don't even know about CBDA. And CBDA is not even, you can't patent, it's nature. So that's the reason why industry is not regulated today, because they don't know how to overcome this big gap. Because if they're gonna continue patent and keep the patents under CBD, we have to make CBDA completely legal, because it's like spinach. Can you make spinach illegal? No. It's like, but now we agreeing to make this medicine, which just empowers your body. And if half of Americans or half the country went on this medicine, half the country would be off the pills, we basically would lose pharmaceutical market. So it's the biggest battle ever seen in pharmaceutical industry is the CBD, because they don't know how to change this. They don't know how to play around, because, and that's why the regulations are still not in place, because pharmaceuticals wants to take over and they want to control the market. At this point, science are so loud and clear, screaming and saying, hey, we need this. This is essential to us. By not making this legal, it's a crime against humanity, because our body is producing, and we need this in order to survive, in order to stay alive, in order to be healthy. And now it's not regulated. So everyone sees what's going on, but that's why it's still on hold. And that's why these companies are not accountable, and nobody takes action towards safe and effective products, because it's like Wild West. It's like, it's like you do whatever you want. It's like same thing as, you take advantage of situation. And that's what the business owners do. Most CBD producers, they just sell only God knows what. Lab results are not real. And so the huge difference is, first of all, you never want to take one isolate compound. You want the whole plant, which is a full spectrum. And you never want to take CBD or THC. You want to always take original God's version, CBDA, THCA, CBNA, CBGA, all those hundreds of different compounds that are in the plant in acidic version.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is CBDA is the most pure version of CBD. Once it then turns into CBD, that it becomes processed, or then it's in the supplement industry kind of, and it's a little unregulated. Is that correct?
What happens is the whole industry itself isn't regulated. If it's cannabis, CBD, or CBD, anything you mention in cannabis related, THC, whatever you want, it's completely unregulated. There's no regulations. It's complete Wild West. Mm-hmm. But what happened is, one thing we know for a fact, if you go on Smart Google gonna tell you that CBD is a compound patented by Food and Drug Administration as a drug for epilepsy. It's called Epidiolex. So that means if it's patented, must be not natural. So if it's not natural, then what it is? So the way they do it, they take raw, beautiful hemp plants, if they're grown healthy, because it takes extra care to grow them healthy because they're naturally like a sponge for toxins. So you have to be like, as I said, it took us 2 years just to get the soil ready. So, so you have to take this raw plant and you have to actually use solvents, heat, crazy extractions that are unhealthy for the plant and the human in order to turn CBDA into CBD. And those extract processes are very harmful. So you have to be very careful with those. And that's exactly what the whole country sells as of today. And that's why they don't want me to talk about human endocannabinoid system, which is your own organ. Today, as of today, it's illegal for me to go on the mainstream media and educate people on I can educate about your liver, I can educate about your kidneys, but I cannot educate about your own endocannabinoid system.
You're able to then sell CBD-A, right? Is that okay? But you're selling it online. So it's okay for you to sell it, but you can't speak of it publicly.
Yeah, that's
Correct.
what I said. It's so weird because even some states are still not regulated. For example, hemp growing, which is hemp, as you remember, it's below 3% of THC, higher levels of CBD or CBD-A in my world. What happens, that industry is regulated. It's like they allow you to grow, but they don't allow you to sell in each state. Only certain states, majority of states are approved to actually receive their CBD products or CBDA or any kind of type of hemp product. But certain states are still not approved. So federally, it's illegal to do that. But in the state law, in most majority of states, I think it's 49 states approved or 48 states approved, it's legal. And there's no regulations how to make these products to be healthy. So that means if you don't care and if you care about mass production, so you can put whatever you want to put in a bottle, label as a CBD, and you're going to sell it. And nobody's going to put you in a jail for that. You'll be good to go.
So it sounds like so CBD, right? Anyone can sell it. It's anyone can promote it as wellness but it's not in its pure form of CBD. CBD-A is really what you want if you're going to use a CBD product.
Absolutely.
Okay.
CBD-A is exactly what you want because it's the natural version and it's been shown right now. Science finally waking up towards CBD-A. That is 1,000 times stronger. It's way more effective. Actually works way better than CBD, like a drug for epilepsy. For example, they're saying CBD-A is way more effective for epilepsy. But you keep in mind, you really don't use these cannabinoids when you really have a problem. You're welcome to use them just to stay yourself and keep yourself healthy. Like, because you're already producing in your body, and especially if you buy the CBD products, your company you're buying from must produce results, lab results in parts per billion from microtoxins. If they don't, you probably don't want to talk to these people.
So this might be a silly question. Why doesn't then the supplement or the FDA who approves CBD as a drug for epilepsy, why don't they use CBD-A?
Because as I said, like even doctors, they're not educated about they're not even allowed to promote. It's a huge war going on inside this industry right now. Some doctors recognizing they know effect, but they're not allowed to push it. Then while the pharmaceutical industry is trying for you not to know about, hey, I can have my own CBDA. And it's supposed to be as a superfood. It's not supposed to be regulated because it's part of my body. It's essential to me survive, just like air, water, and food. So they want this information to be suppressed as much as possible so they can control the market again, like on everything else, on every drug they actually put on the market. So they want to push this into the drug category versus someone like myself saying, no, this is a superfood, should be in the grocery stores, in people's gardens, and everywhere. Everyone should have access to it.
Well, so let's talk about what your CBD-A products do for you and help, because like I said, back at the beginning, a lot of my clients, at least, and they're looking for energy, weight loss, brain fog, just a whole host of different things. And I know that, you can read about I'm not talking about your products, but like if whatever I've like read, like it helps everything, like it helps a million things. So let's talk about your product then specifically. And because I know also that it's an investment, right, to take CBD oil. And I am a big proponent of knowing the why. Like I've taken things before, I'll take them for a little while, and then I start to like, why am I taking this? I don't really like, I'm not, I'm not feeling any miracle or like, so why am I taking it? And it's kind of expensive. And so then I probably have given up, but I probably have not taken good quality products either. So tell me about your products specifically. I know, that you've talked about it helps with sleep and better digestion and moods and chronic pain. And is there evidence behind that besides the testimonials and, just firsthand experiences like that?
The biggest evidence was actually when 2 years ago, when COVID news came out from Oregon University. It was a research, and it was done on CBD-A and CBD-A. So those two specific compounds were able to block receptors to actually spike protein to enter your body. We have a proven natural solution that is safe and can be very effective to prevent you from getting COVID, and that was CBD-A. And I was on the mainstream media all day long giving interviews because we are only one CBD product. And that's the moment where CBD industry decided all figured out how to go after CBD-A. Because wait a minute, like there's a CBD-A, we need to figure out what we're going to do here. So since then, we have science start finally happening into the CBD-A world. But it definitely has been shown also scientifically, it helps with epilepsy way more than CBD is way more effective. So if you have like a chronic illness, and especially like epilepsy, also helps. One of our white papers, it tells how it helps with if you have cancer and if you have major nausea, it helps with nausea, your serotonin levels, regulates your entire central nervous system. That's another big scientific proof for CBDA. So, but the most important, we need to focus. Most people obviously in also have an element because I have a menstrual cramping or have mood swings or have something going on. It's not about that one specific spot in the body. It's about systematic. And that's what our products does. They really help systematically. So they regulate the whole system. So whatever these imbalances, so sometimes people come to me and say, I was able to get pregnant. It's like, what? Like, what do you mean you were able to get pregnant? It's like, oh, I tried for 9 years, I couldn't get pregnant, and I just used your product for 3 months, and there you go, I'm pregnant right now. It's like, what? So all what she was missing, she always had a mood swings, but she had actual hormonal issues. So, but the product really helped her to balance that endocannabinoid system, and that endocannabinoid system took care of everything else in the body. So it's really for each person. I know people reporting for inflammation. It's absolutely a miracle for inflammation. You can have as much as inflammation you want. If you take Nessa, you literally see results, I don't know, immediately. Like literally people see you feel better. Some people 90 seconds, some people in 90 minutes. But if you take the proper dose, you're definitely going to feel results. Also, people are reporting with vision situation, mood swings. Mood swings is big. Each person, you would be surprised, reporting different benefits because, again, it goes back to that systematic. When you fix the system, then automatically whatever falls for each person differently, right? For example, right now, the science coming up and saying CBD-A, this is completely new. Actually, I didn't even read the full article. It's actually helping to exchange your microbiome in your gut, actually, and be more effective and more supportive. So I said, I always know when people actually have gut issues, when they take our product, they reporting to go in the bathroom more often, right? So I know flushes their bacteria. I know regulates their gut. But again, I don't want to focus on specific thing. I want to focus more on like systematic. What is the whole system? And the system is broken. You have multiple elements. If you fix the system, all the elements automatically fall in place.
So that makes sense to me, right? That you're not just targeting like specific symptoms, like I just get headaches every day. But it's really working on an overall system, and then that in turn will fix things, right, that maybe you didn't even think of. That makes a lot of sense to me. I think this is another question. People like start taking some of these supplements and then they're on them for like a period of time. How long do you need to be taking CBDA? And I mean, is this a lifelong commitment? Is it, and how long, and when do you start seeing like a difference in your health?
The reminder is when we started this conversation, I was sharing how you make your own cannabinoids. So, for example, maybe you have more than I do of your own production still going on. I don't know how much left, maybe 10%, 20% compared when you're born. So each person does require slightly, possibly different dose, because each person does have a different endocannabinoid system and different balance in that system, right? It's like going in a bank account, how much you're going to use. So we want to trigger that system. That's all what we want. And some people actually can trigger immediately, and they really do. We have miracle stories where people couldn't walk and even get up from the bed for years, and within 1 week is running on FaceTime, live streaming Facebook and showing the world he's running again. So that was like 90-second reaction. That was the fastest I've ever seen. COVID, 9 minutes, from 9 minutes to 9 hours I've seen where people see results, but each person, keep in mind, is a little bit different. So you might take a minute, maybe an hour, or maybe a week to see results. Make sure you always adjust the dose. I always tell people, we never seen product not producing results. We're seeing people taking the wrong dose because they think the suggested dose is for everybody. What if you have too many cannabinoids? So actually taking higher dose is not good for you because you still have enough of your own production. So you just need to fire up your own system. So after you do that, I tell people all the time, you should definitely stay minimum 3 months. And after 3 months, you should be able to maintain your own cannabinoid system production because you empower your system again. You have enough of cannabinoids to run yourself. And if you feel like you need to get off, then you're welcome to, and you're still going to be able to sustain your own cannabinoid system.
So minimum 3 months, and it sounds like the dose is personal to everybody and you sort of play around with it.
Absolutely. And some people, for example, if they're taking for sleep, see, Nessa, I tried, or for pain, whatever the pain is, keep in mind, any kind of type of pain. And if you don't feel an effect, and especially when you're in pain and in chronic pain, that means you're taking the wrong dose, because product definitely works. It really, really does. So I tell people, adjust the dose. Like one of our actually team members, she was telling me, Inessa, I love the company. I love the mission. And she said, no matter how hard I try to love this product, I can't love the product. And I said, don't say that. And she's like, why? She's like, I'm taking this for pain and I'm reading, everybody gets better in pain except me. I said, Natalia, you're taking the wrong dose. I can guarantee that. It's like, I'm taking half dropper in the morning and half at night. I said, can you just do me a favor and take the full dropper right now as we're speaking? She does that within 20 minutes. While we're still on the call, her pain is finally going away. So all what we have to do to trigger a little bit of dosage, and she started feeling immediately. So while the whole month she's saying, it doesn't do anything for me.
She needed to up her dose a little bit.
Yep.
Okay. Exactly. So you take it twice a day, maybe, or sometimes 3 times a day, or it really is just dependent on, you have to be your own advocate for it, your own researcher.
You can't overtake the product. What happens is, you're absolutely right. Product stays about 10 hours in the system, unless it's needed. If it's not needed, you're definitely good to take just in the morning and at night. But if you have some chronic situation, surgery, pain, cancer, anxiety attacks nonstop, epilepsy, you're welcome to take during the daytime.
Okay. Well, I have a bottle of your CBD-A, and I am going to be an experiment for you too. So I'm going to take it. I have a decent amount of chronic pain, so this would be, a good experiment for me to see if that helps, amongst, some other things. So I will report back to you for sure and let you know how it goes. But I'm feeling excited to experiment with that and see how it works. And Nessa, this has been a great conversation. I feel like I have learned a lot, and I want my listeners to definitely seek you out and learn more. So how can people get in touch with you?
The easiest way is to really go on Nessa's Hemp, Nesas, Nessa's Hemp, Hemp.com. So if you go on nessashemp.com, you can actually contact us through the customer service. They have a great support, and you're welcome to send us an emails. But as I said, there's so much we do. So anything you have, any questions, you're welcome to send to us, and we'll get back to you for sure. Another thing is, if you decided to buy the product anywhere else, I highly suggest you to each bottle should be numbered with on the bottom or somewhere with specific code for that bottle, and that code should match laboratory results on that specific code and that specific date. If you can get that laboratory result for your specific identified bottle, and your lab result should say free from all kinds of mold, bacteria, metals, heavy metals, like you name it, like hundreds and thousands of toxins the way we test, you probably don't want to put this product in your mouth. And another thing is, make sure you require that brand or that company or that store owner to test their products through called ACS laboratories. They're the largest cannabis testing laboratory that's not fake lab results. Most companies, if I want to test this product, if I'll send it to companies, I don't want to say names again, say, hey, I want to be free from metals on my final report. I want to be free from mold, and I want to be high levels of CBD and no THC. And that's exactly what they're going to give me on the report. I just need to pay $150 extra. And that's what the laboratory is going to give me. There's no regulations. So it's only one laboratory does not fake lab results. It's called ACS Laboratory in Florida. So
that's so interesting. So it sounds like you have really done your homework and done so much investigating, and you are truly an expert. It was lovely to speak with you, and I've learned a lot. And I will link all your website and everything in the show notes, and people can reach you there. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
And as always, if you loved this podcast, please consider gifting me with a 5-star review. It is so helpful for me to get the word out on real eating, our real bodies, and real food stories. Thank you so much, and have a great week. Bye for now.